Hey guys, welcome back to another Foundry review. We got the next episode of Ahsoka. We got episode 6, Far, Far Away. We got myself and we got Johnny, and we are very much ready to talk about this episode. How are you doing, dude?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I was like dying with happiness in the very beginning of this episode. I loved it. I was so
Yeah.
excited to see the big reveal at the very beginning of our big blue man. Paul
Dude,
Giamatti, the
seriously.
big fat blue liar. I was so happy to see him. No, he was cool as fuck, and his stormtroopers were so fucking dope.
Dude.
Oh, I was in
Yeah.
a great place. I was like, this is cool as shit, and it's menacing. I was so the first half of the episode, man. I fucking loved it so much. We barely got any Ahsoka, which is
True. Just at the very beginning of the episode, which, I mean, kind of makes sense to some degree. They want to.
Yeah.
There's been we got a bunch of Ahsoka while they've been making their way to this planet like previously,
yeah.
like with Sabine and everyone. So like we're now just shifting to see how they've been going
Yeah, Ahsoka's
about
journey,
like stuff on the planet.
in real time with the last episode and this episode, been padding a little bit, you know. Honestly, it's like you spent most of the time of her taking a nap in the last episode. Also, referring to that, a lot of people were asking about her physical presence. So people were I don't know if you've seen the comments, but some people were saying that how did she survive being like in the ocean for like a day?
Well, interesting. That is a good point. I think what I kind of assumed was based on like previous stuff that like has been shown about like the world between worlds, because I think she
was actually
went.
physically was there. Yeah,
I think she physically went there.
I'm
There was like a
pretty
portal that she
sure-
went through
Yeah,
when
pretty
she
sure
fell down.
we mentioned that in the episode. That's what our opinions were, but I don't know if that's like canon or fact or anything like that. But that's just how we interpreted it. Pretty sure we
Yeah.
said that last episode as well.
I think we might have, because
Yeah.
it's a little ambiguous because Anakin also
The
being
whole
there.
episode is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like all of it's very like it's supposed to be more mystical. So I don't think you're meant to like take it like too seriously, which is kind of hard when everything else is like very structured and you're like, okay, this happens, and like we have spaceships that they follow rules and stuff, and then you introduce the Force and you're like, well, it kind of just works, it's all ambiguous about how it actually works, and you're like, okay, well, was she actually there? Was it all in her mind? Was she actually in the ocean? Because she obviously came back into the ocean when they found her. Was she just floating somewhere the whole time and that all happened in her mind? Or did she go through an actual like portal somehow and connect to the world between worlds, which is still itself very like just ambiguous. Like, how does
Very.
it work? Like, Ezra's gone in, he saved Ahsoka through it. Like, it's like how does that how like that it doesn't quite make sense. But
Dude.
yeah.
Thrawn's second in command. So fucking cool. So cool.
True. All of those troops,
Oh,
like you said.
their
dope.
armor, it's so brilliant.
Very
So
menacing.
cool. I don't know anything about Rebels. I don't know anything about Thrawn, but I had this weird thought, I guess an idea, because we saw a lot of Night Sisters as well. We saw a lot of the witches and stuff like that, and the spells going to work. I'm like, so Thrawn pretty much said that he's in cahoots with the witches, right?
Yep.
And he's using their dark power or dark what was it called? What did they use? They said
Magic,
dark magic,
Kind
word
of.
for word.
It's I mean, I think it's like a version of using the Force to some degree.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Does he just have a bunch of dead troopers and they're just being kept alive by the dark magic? Like, how fucking cool would that be?
That would. I
And
mean,
that's
we
why
saw that
they
other
seem
guy
like
die.
slightly battle damage, maybe? I don't know.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, it could be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch. Maybe it's a mix. Maybe some of them are actually alive, and some of them are just being kept alive by dark magic,
Yeah.
or whatever, through the Night Sisters. That would make a lot of sense. We also don't know, like, they're there, they're ready. They could just like leave right now, but they're like, no, we gotta
Yeah.
like get us like
Padding.
load this ship for some reason. It's like, okay, well, first of all, why? And second of all, why didn't you do that before? Why did you wait until now to do that? because they're loading it up onto that Star Destroyer.
No, what
It's
what
like,
are
they
they
could have done
loading?
that for like ever.
Yeah,
Why wasn't it just
season
ready to go?
0 of Ahsoka?
Yeah, I don't. It's super weird. Like, as soon as they knew that, like, the
Oh my god,
they were
their
coming,
cryo chambers. There are all the stormtroopers inside of those, and they're controlling their armor via dark magic from inside the coffin, or their little. Actually, what were in those things? Do we know?
I don't think we know.
They just
I don't
said
think
the
they said
cargo.
anything. Yeah, it was just they were loading up a bunch of ship into
It's gonna take a
ship.
rotation.
Yeah, it's like, okay, why is it gonna take so long? They have a bunch of people.
What'd you think of Lars
yeah.
Mikkelsen as Thrawn in this episode?
You know, it's funny because at first it threw me. I was like, and this is blasted all over the internet. Like, he kind of looked like a blue Elon Musk, and I'm like, no, stop, please.
Yeah, 100%.
But like after I watched it a bit, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I had to get used to his voice with his face because I had only ever heard him.
It
in
looks
Rebels.
like a meme.
Yeah, it at first it threw me, and I was like, oh wow, that voice is so weird for that face because I was just not used to it. But after a while, I'm like, this actually works really well. He's still menacing as shit.
I agree.
Just because he's so calm all the time, like he doesn't have that like super like manly low pitched voice or anything, but like somehow he's just menacingly
Sounds
calm.
like menacing and methodical. He's got like controlled aggression underneath his breath. And
Yeah.
it's like he's been patient for so long, and he's almost there. So it's like at any point he'll probably fucking snap.
Yeah,
And that's pretty
he's just
impressive
super confident.
to get all of that just from like what I've seen and just heard from this one episode.
Yeah, true. Especially for, I mean, I wonder what people who don't know anything about Thrawn, like no idea from anything from Rebels, nothing from like the old extended universe shit, because like Thrawn was all over that kind of stuff. And so there's probably a bunch of like hardcore fans that are like, I know exactly what Thrawn is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they're probably comparing this Thrawn to what they know from like the books and stuff. So I wonder how that matches up. But I feel like they did a great job of like bringing him to life in the show.
I love it. I love him. This show, just from this episode alone, has so many like convoluted just relationships of who's using who, of who's a pawn and who's
Yeah.
chess game. It's kind of baffling. It's like, are the witches using Thrawn, and Thrawn is using Margaret, I think. Yeah, whatever. Elizabeth, Miss
forget her
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth is using the mercenaries, and the mercenaries are using the Jedi. It's just like, holy shit, man! Like, who's on whose agenda here? It's crazy.
At least it makes it more interesting because you're
Oh
constantly
yeah, for sure.
wondering like,
Yeah, you don't know
whose
anyone's
motivation.
Yeah, you don't know
Yeah.
the real motivation. You don't know who's evil. You don't know who's like the real plan is. We saw a lot. I got a very big like view into what's going on with Balin and his apprentice and what his true intentions are.
True.
To where I
We're
feel
finally
like
getting more of that.
yeah, it's like I don't think he fully condemns the Jedi. Like I do not think he condemns the Order. He like says that it was a big part of his life, and it was a big tragedy, and he has a different view on it now that he's an adult. But he says like. He did mention to his apprentice, he's like, you are different. You are not a Jedi. We are something, you are being trained to be something much more different. He's like, he didn't put himself in that category because he's already been like, probably seen that part of it. But he's like trying to get the most purest thing out of his apprentice. And I'm really curious what his objective is. Like, what is he trying to get out of her, you know? Like, what kind of
we still don't know
person is he building for her? Like, it's so cool. It's really fucking cool, man. I like it a lot.
I like the conversation between them, or just the dialogue that they use. It's very interesting because it's not just like, you know, very basic like, oh, we want to like kill these guys and rule the galaxy, blah blah blah. It's
No,
like,
she
it's
like
a little more
hangs
interesting
on.
than that.
She hangs on his words, you know.
Yeah.
She is very dependent on. She's not very like independent, unfortunately, but she's very dependent. She needs
She's
to
still
learn
learning.
from him. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's always curious what he's thinking. You know, she like is helping us and what we see and what we're curious about too. She wants to know what he's thinking, and we want to know what he's thinking too. It's like, what's next? You know, she's constantly asking the questions that we're thinking as well.
Yeah, I like that they're not just outright saying exactly what they want. They're kind of hinting at it over time.
Yes.
Like, what I mean, he wants to keep his ultimate goals a little bit like secret. He probably doesn't want to tell her exactly what he's trying to do.
He might be
doesn't want to
manipulating.
influence her path
Yeah.
too much. He wants her to make her own decisions. So he's not saying exactly what they're doing, but like, you know, they're going along with it, and she's still able to kind of, you know, do what she wants within that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm still very much waiting to see what exactly he's trying to do.
That's
'Cause he's
fucking
like
slumber, dude.
He's a crucial part of this, and it's so interesting to have them in this as like, well, him specifically because he was a Jedi and like stepped away, similar to Ahsoka to some degree. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
Right.
And we've talked about this in the previous ones where it's like riding that line between good and evil. It's more in a gray area. This whole show is like a little ambiguous, which kind of keeps us on our toes.
It's a good theme. That's why I was like really kind of not disappointed, but I was really confused about Ahsoka, like feeling like she turned a tide and she became like a definite, like she decided what part of that area that she's gonna be in, and that white area, you know, with the white robes and everything like that.
The very symbolic type of stuff going on. Classic, like very very standard, like old school Star Wars stuff. Blue means good guys, red means bad guys, that kind of shit.
Exactly. And Balin has just like been right in the middle of that. What did you think of the planet that they were on? I guess stranded on, apparently.
Classic desolate looking planet. I'm glad it's not Tatooine or a sand planet, but it's also just kind of
it's
boring.
Quite basic. Yeah.
It's just like kind of dark and like shrouded and foggy. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to make it like clearly look more desolate and stuff, but I feel like it would have been cooler if they went with more of a unique vibe. It probably would have been a lot harder to shoot because they're going out in the wilderness, so they need something that kind of still looks like Earth to some degree. I don't know if they went on location for any of that stuff, but they probably didn't want to go as extravagant as like, you know, like Dathomir, for example, is like a very weird looking reddish planet, and when you see that in the games, you're like, wow, this is a super weird planet. But this one just kind of looks like, you know, a foggy place on Earth somewhere.
Yeah.
With some giant like buildings and shit. But overall, I didn't mind.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. You know, I enjoyed it. I thought the mounts were kind of cool. They're like gigantic rats.
Yeah, like rat, dog, wolf things.
They were pretty funny. They're pretty cool. I thought it was kind of bullshit. Like, oh, it's this stranded planet. She's like, she's riding her rat dog for like 2 minutes, and
in a direction,
and then finds like a bunch of bandits. Then finds a bunch of locals. And I'm like, this place ain't fucking desolate. Like, there's people all over the fucking place. What do you mean, dude? Like, Tatooine is 10 times more desolate than this fucking planet. And he's like, oh, we're stuck on this planet. It's like stuck in this. Well, I guess they can't just fucking leave the galaxy. I guess that would take fucking like literal ages if they don't have a specific. They might, because he has that Star Destroyer or the that Empire fucking big old ship.
Yeah, the Star Destroyer. Yeah.
He has that ship. I like how that one's like all patched up and stuff. It looks kind of cool, all battle damaged.
Yeah, I liked like the helmets and everything, and I like how they docked it on top of the thing. That was super cool to see it like come in. I don't know where it was already, like just located. It's just like, all right, now let's come in for the menacing cool shot and land. Why wasn't it just always there?
I don't. Yeah, what were they doing in the meantime? He's like, we shall like throw on day 86 of wait. I was like. They could be here.
It's like Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian. She's just sitting on that chair for the whole time waiting for her moment to shine.
And she's like,
he was just
man,
waiting.
I'm
He's like, all right, now.
thirsty, but he could be here at any fucking minute. I cannot leave to go to the bathroom.
One other thing that threw me off slightly. This is a huge nitpick, but I was like, how in the world? I mean, maybe it makes more sense based on what you were saying. Maybe they are like all being kept alive, but how in the world are they feeding all those people for however long they've been here on a desolate looking planet like this? There does not look like there's enough like food, vegetables, supplies. They don't have any farms going on. Where are they getting food? Because it doesn't look like there's enough to hunt.
I agree.
So I'm like, how are they like alive right now?
You have a rat farm, you eat the offspring. The offspring.
Maybe, dude.
Also, they were like, must have had plenty of provisions because they're like literally Sabine's like, here's provisions. All right. And a rat dog.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's like, you guys just got extras somehow, even though you've definitely been here a long ass time, because the whole, you know, him like them actually coming here happened before any of the prequels happened. And so now they're just like, okay, this is many years later.
Yeah.
And they survived somehow. So that threw me off a little because I thought about that briefly. I was like, huh, this very desolate place. How are they? They don't have any signs of like
a stupid question,
structure or anything.
But how many years from like episode 4 to episode like 6?
That's a good question. I'd have to look that one up. But I feel like it's at least, I don't know, at least like a decade or so, right? I feel like an awful Star Wars nerd when I can't think of like how long of a period.
I was just
of time
curious, guys. This is me exposing Kenneth. Get him.
Shit.
There's his Twitter. Get him.
Fake nerd, bro. Come on, fake fan.
No, I can tell you what it is. I don't know it.
Yeah.
I was just curious myself.
But it's yeah. I mean,
I would say maybe close to a decade
time.
as well. Yeah, it's got to be like around there. I feel like Luke Skywalker was grown quite a bit in that time, so I mean that makes sense.
Yeah. What did you think about them not killing Sabine and Thrawn being a man of his, like following up on bargains and stuff? Like
I feel like Balin. I feel like Thrawn not wanting to kill her was plot hole bullshit. I don't care about. But Balin not wanting to kill her, I feel like Balin, like I said, he has not condemned the Jedi Order. I feel like he has a lot of admiration and respect for the Jedi. I feel like, just like how everyone should with the Force, that it's like it needs balance, and I think he wants there to be Jedi in the universe. That the Force requires Jedi to exist and requires Sith to exist, and that needs balance in the universe. And he feels like that he should also exist, but like at the same time, he also said like at some point in the episode, he's like, I want this cycle to end. You know, like I want to go back. Like I want to start a new beginning. But at the same time, I feel like he is connected to his old ways, and that's what he doesn't want to expose to his apprentice. That he has different connections and prior like emotions, I guess, maybe with the Jedi Order, and just the past and maybe past traumas that are still like preventing him from moving on with this new beginning. But that's why he has his apprentice, you know, which will start fresh and a new beginning, a completely fresh new beginning that won't have any prior engagements or any prior like knowledge or existence to what happened before and how the old ways were, and they might be able to help out with that new beginning, you know. But I think it's really cool. It's really cool way how he views it, because he's like, she might be useful, aka I don't think Balin can. I don't think he wants to kill her. Like I said, like I think there's a place for her and like fucking other Sith evil beings in the universe. Like the universe needs like the good and evil for the gray to exist, which he wants to be, because maybe he's sick of the good and the evil. He wants something different, you know. He wants a new beginning. He's sick of the old song and dance. He's like, shit rises up, it falls, it rises up again, it falls. Like he wants something brand new, which he made very clear to her. And the way when he talks, the way his apprentice just like looks deeply through him, like every word is like fucking
like
Bond.
She's waiting for him to finish.
Yes,
like
it's so
nuggets
good.
Of wisdom.
I love their relationship. It's so cool. I could listen to him fucking talk and speak his wise words all fucking day long, dude. I love Balin.
Yeah,
Balin's skull is cool as fuck.
They gave him some good dialogue. Like he has, it's not like overly like preachy or something. Like obviously he's just like, you know, spouting a bunch of bullshit. Like it actually makes sense. It fits within the context, and like it's I don't know, it's well done. Like it doesn't feel like forced.
Yeah, I agree. It does not feel like he's just talking to talk, like, oh, what bad guy's got to say something. It definitely feels like it's a small little window to see his past, which everyone is so fucking desperate to see. Everyone wants to know what's happening with him. This is what like Star Wars used to do so well. It's like when they had a really cool character, they would not reveal a lot, and then it became like a cult following. People would love this character so much because they didn't want to know anything about him.
Get little nuggets.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, Boba Fett, the coolest character ever. He spoke one line of dialogue, you know, and it's like now that they don't have like fucking a whole episode dedicated to his backstory, which I would love one, you know, because I'm fucking hanging on every single thing that he's saying too, just like the apprentice says.
Yeah. True. I was wondering if they might do that, but I would be okay if they also don't and just kind of leave it leave it up in the air and kind of let us fill in the blanks a little bit. Because I kind of like when they leave a little bit to us to kind of fill in, like have some stuff implied, like something that's not super critical to the plot, but is still like interesting enough for us to be like, huh, why does he think it like that way? What happened that he left the order in the first place? What happened between when he left and now? Like how did he become who he is?
Yeah, that's
all the
difficult
we don't know.
because that means that Disney's like, oh, it's cool. The audience can think for themselves, which does not happen very often. They usually, yeah. Which I would appreciate because it's like, I'd rather they just leave it the way it is. You know, Balin Skull is a very fucking cool character. Leave it up in the air.
Yeah.
Because Ray Stevenson is dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think they
really
showed that in the
sucks.
first episode. They said for our friend like Ray or whatever, and I'm like, damn. Huh,
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't
really-
realize that.
Yeah, he died before the show came out. I think this year, right?
I think so. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah,
But
it
that
really
would make
sucks.
sense.
Tragic though, because he was not very old either.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, we
Yeah.
didn't even get to the other big reveal. But before we do that, I just wanted to say the second half of this episode, in my opinion, fell off a cliff, and I cared a lot less about it. And I feel like it did
True.
not. The
True.
theme and tone was quite different and a little bit too different from what I personally wanted. But
Yeah. I
Like
guess
it-
before we
yeah.
get into that real quick, I did want to mention near the beginning of the episode, we talked about we didn't get much of Ahsoka, but we did get a little thing
oh yeah,
where her and what's his name? Hu Yang?
Hugh Yang. Yeah. Wow, you
we're
don't
talking
like Star Wars. You were right. You're not a Star Wars nerd.
Dude.
Ken fell
Well,
off.
I'm also awful. I'm awful with names, so I can't pay attention like I used to and just read the books of like those old books where it's like all the droids and species. I used to have some of those, and I'd be like, oh yeah,
Oh
that's
Jesus, dude. You just.
I used to have
hate
all the time
robots.
in the world for that shit. But yeah, at the beginning we get a little bit of a conversation between them. They're talking about some of the old stories and stuff. I saw one thing where it's like they were saying there's like stories, some name of the stories, and it's like there's 1, 2, 3, and someone I saw was saying like, oh, I wonder if that represents like the prequels, the original trilogy, and the sequels or something. And she says number 1 is the best.
Mhm.
So it's like, depending on how you interpret it, that if like one is chronological or like,
She
or when
was
they actually
calling
came
out
out
nerds
movies,
and
like,
shit.
yeah. So I thought that was funny, and then also she asked for Hu Yang to talk, like to recite one of the stories from his memory banks,
Yeah, he was saying that
and
he's
he
like,
goes with episode 1 or the first one, and he starts off with the intro crawl or the intro text for
yeah, the
Star
little credits
Wars.
rolling and shit.
It's like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And I'm like, no way. That's stupid, but I love it because it's meta as shit, and it also works in universe because they're literally going to a galaxy far, far away
Yeah, brand new
that
galaxy.
they actually have stories about from the past. So it's like fantastic.
Also, I didn't get to mention this, but the ship, Elizabeth's like ring ship that they were using.
The
Man,
Halo.
the
yeah.
interior of that place is fucking gorgeous.
True.
Like that yellow
They-
color. Oh, it's so
they went
fucking
so they went so hardcore for no reason. It did not need to be that fancy.
No,
they
it
were
was
like, we got a
fucking
meat drawn
gorgeous.
with this giant, awesome looking ring.
pretty. And the fucking and the robots inside, the droids with their spooky ass voice too. And I'm thinking like, oh yeah, we're somewhere in the gray here, right? Like that's not evil. The way they're
Yeah.
talking, their voices are so cool. They're just so evil and spooky.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but
it's,
then
it's pretty funny.
I think where were they before they were talking? It was Balin and his apprentice. I watched this in 2 different sittings, so it's hard to remember where it was exactly.
Yeah.
But they were talking. I believe he was talking about new beginnings and stuff. And they were surrounded by rocks, like with logos and like kind of emblems engraved into it and stuff. And I'm like, this
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
reminds
at the top
me.
of the temple thingy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this reminds me of the last episode when like kind of the otherworldly place. They kind of. Like that's the
Oh, the
vibes
world
I was
between
getting.
worlds.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I was getting kind of vibes from there. I'm like, this was an interesting spot.
Yeah. I
Like a
I think a
parallel
lot of that's
almost.
all connected with some of the design elements that they're using. Like this spot, like that temple at the top where there was those like little rocky like statue looking things.
Yeah.
Looks very similar to where they were on that other planet. So they're like connected in that way, and then also like the design elements look very much like you said, the World Between Worlds, where they have all those little paths connecting, and they're mostly like circular and curvy, but there are some straight parts, and it is very interesting how that all is connected.
I also really enjoyed whenever they were introduced to the Night Sisters, how when they were talking, you had the long whispers and kind of the creepy, like kind of just the creepy, super creepy. Which I want to rewind to the very first episode of when Ahsoka picked up the star map. There was Darth Maul whispering. It's a line of dialogue from the Rebels episode where Obi-Wan like finishes him off, and Darth Maul like is kind of in his ear with confidence. He's like, "Is he the chosen one?" Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the exact same whisper. Like that almost like confirms that was Darth Maul. Like just saying that, or like just hearing that voice, or being connected through like the Force or something like that. Because it's like that's the same whisper, man. So I'm like, was he actually saying that to her, or is that just some fucking ambience they were just throwing at us? I don't know.
It's very interesting. I don't know
but
what they're
it's
trying
so
to
fucking
imply
cool, dude. Because I love me some goddamn Darth Maul, and I fucking love Dathomir witches and shit. So awesome.
It all makes sense. They're all connected. I mean, we learned that this planet is like their original homeworld, right, or whatever. So them being here, like having that kind of stuff going on, and then the Night Sisters back in the normal Star Wars galaxy are all connected, and then Darth Maul is also connected to them because that was on the planet he was like born on, I think, right? He's like he's related to them in that way, so it all kind of connects, and it's all freaking Dave Filoni connecting all his like stuff that he's like, you know, kind of extended on, which is very interesting. So it's kind of all coming together in really interesting ways.
All right, we should stop cucking everybody. We should tell them about who's alive in the
half
video.
of the episode. Yeah. So are we just gonna skip over all the exploring, the bandits, the natives, and all the weirdness?
I'll talk about it. Yeah. So immediately Sabine's Rand's like, I'm Goofy, haha. Time to laugh. You know, you didn't get enough yet. No one got to laugh yet. Then I'm gonna do that. It's my job. It's me, comedian Sabine. What's up? No, it's kind of annoying. It's like she's like, she's gonna go out there and explore to find Ezra, and Thrawn's like, yes, beautiful, my plan is working. Go find Ezra so I can kill you both. And it's like, all right, cool, Thrawn. You couldn't walk 5 feet out there and see a bunch of fucking turtles in Turtle Trailer Park. Sure.
Yeah, like they don't give you a good like sense of how far she actually went, which makes it feel like it was really close because it happens in such a short
everything
amount
looked
of time
the fucking
for us.
same too.
Yeah, exactly. It was like procedurally generated. Sorry,
no one's gonna get
about that before.
No one's gonna enjoy that.
That's why it's
except for
funny.
you and me.
But it was very samey, which is kind of classic. But they didn't give us a good sense of like how far she went. We couldn't even tell like how much the sun moved or something to figure out like how long she had been traveling. Like if they gave us a sense of like, oh, it's like nighttime now, then sure, we could assume that she's been traveling for hours and it's really far. But we don't get any sense of that, so it was just kind of weird.
Sabine had a weird segment with her mount leaving and abandoning her, and it was really goofy. And then she came up and met some turtle guys that apparently had a rebel insignia necklace too. And they were like part turtles. There was just a bunch of them. They're all wearing like suits and
like
ties,
crab
and
looking things. Yeah. It's very interesting. Like they fit fine within the environment.
Yes, I agree.
But it just felt like contrived. Like why were they there in the first place? Like I guess there's that little bit of water, but they could have had like, you know, plant growth. Like they were picking stuff. They heard people coming, so they like turned into like looking like rocks so that they wouldn't be found. But it just seemed like they were just there for no reason.
Yeah,
like,
just
why were they there? Like not at their homes. Like they should have been out gathering something. Or if that was the implication, they should have made that a little bit more obvious. Because I'm sure there are better places to get water or something. Because everything was just rocky and slightly grassy and like okay.
Yeah, I don't think they were hunting and gathering by the looks of it. And then they kind of agreed upon there was an unspoken bound there, but also she's like, Ezra, y'all know Ezra? And the turtle people are like, yes, we know Ezra. We'll just follow us.
We immediately trust you.
Yeah, just follow us, even though your dog's like ready to fucking pounce and eat us.
Yep. Yeah.
But they just like they walk for 5 minutes and then boom, you see a turtle trailer park where no turtle is fucking sitting there in their shell, which pissed me off more than anything. I'm like, really? Then what were the first group of turtle guys doing? If this is how they fucking live, you know, what were they doing in the first place? What were they doing over there?
Yeah.
Bullshit. I call bullshit.
Exactly. Because where they parked had plenty of like water.
Or is this new species?
I think so. I mean, it would make sense if they're from this totally other
Disney,
galaxy.
of course.
I've never
Disney
seen them,
species. So. Fucking A. I'm just kidding. No. No.
I think their design looked cool.
Yeah,
it's just they needed a bit more logic. But it is funny because it does look like a trailer park.
It does. Yeah, they've got. Yeah, it's really funny.
It makes sense because they're nomadic, right? They're moving around all the time.
Exactly.
I would assume. So like they got
a turtle.
It's gotta be able
all
to
you
move.
got to do if you're a turtle, you just go in your shell, and that's your house.
Mobile
right
homes. Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. It all.
I do love that in movies and TVs. Like a turtle just goes inside of its shell, and it's like then it's got like a fireplace and a couch and everything.
Classic, bro.
It's like that's how turtles in real life work. No, it was neat, and then they're at the trailer park, and Ezra's like, literally
Took
goes,
you long enough. About time.
What'd you think of them meeting up again?
It felt a little awkward, which I guess would make sense. It's realistic. I think they picked a good person to like be Ezra. Like I feel like he portrayed the character fairly well. It's a little hard. He didn't have many lines, so it's hard to say like in action if he's gonna sound like similar to how the character is in like Rebels or whatever. But I think like looks wise, I think they pulled it off. And I saw someone else point out that he actually looks a lot like his dad does in like one of the shots they show of like a family photo from Rebels.
Oh,
so
that's
he
awesome.
kind of like looks like that with like the beard and everything. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, that makes sense. He grew up to essentially look like his dad.
And he should look a little ragged too, being stranded. So
oh, for sure. Like, I would expect his beard to be a little bit more ragged, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a little well kept. I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't think he has a lightsaber or anything. So like,
turtles be grooming.
what's he using to trim it?
Are you implying that if you were stranded, you would use a lightsaber to groom your beard?
I mean, if I'm well trained in the Force and using a lightsaber, maybe. Although it'd probably smell like ass because you're like
burnt
just
hair,
singeing
man.
all the hairs.
Yeah, doesn't smell very good.
So, but yeah, I think it worked out pretty well. It was the kind of reunion we were finally waiting for. We only have a couple more episodes, so it kind of needed to happen.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about anything. Like like she just like doesn't even mention the fact that like how she got here was not because they were like, let's go find him. It was I had to come here because the enemy captured me, and we actually have no way to get out of here because I got here on the enemy ship, and so we got to figure that out. She just glosses over all that. She was like, no, let's not talk about that yet.
Yeah, that was very very fast. It was interesting. Yeah, because he was just like, "Oh, thanks. I can't wait to go home." And I'm like, "Well,
ooh, awkward."
nah, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, just before you get into that. No, I like the episode. I felt like it was really fucking kiddie. The second half of the episode was really kiddie. Maybe not even a whole half. Maybe like the last just 10, 15 minutes or so, which was, I think it was like a good 45, 35-minute episode or something. I don't know.
Yeah, especially in comparison to what we had before, which was quite a bit more dark and like creepy looking with the trooper helmets and like the ship being all repaired and, you know, Thrawn himself.
Like
we then go to this.
The big baddie who's going to start a new war with people, and it's like means there's gonna be like another fucking genocide, which we already know is gonna happen because it's fucking, we've got sequels to look forward to, but whatever.
Yeah, but I thought overall it was pretty good.
I agree.
I didn't mind it too much. There was a couple things like we talked where we were nitpicking. There was like kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think overall it's like
positive.
The show has been like working towards like it has a goal in mind.
Oh, dude,
it has,
the pacing,
like, something planned out.
Pacing is miles better than anything I've fucking seen on Disney Plus in years.
Right. We only have like after this we have 2 more episodes, and I'm like, okay, I can reasonably see how this is going to end. They're going to get together. Ahsoka's going to get there. They're going to figure out something to like fight the bad guys and then get out of there somehow. They're going to either use the ring itself to get out, or, you know, get the the space whales to come back and like teleport
Lord.
them or something. Who knows? I guess we'll see. But it feels like it's working towards something, which is what we need. I mean, it could end on a cliffhanger because I think Dave Filoni is doing a movie as well, so that could tie in somehow. I'm not sure. But it seems like we're working towards like a decent like place to stop the
agree.
season.
Yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to that. I
Yep.
want to see more Thrawn. I want to see more of these stormtroopers. Very excited. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I hope Thrawn doesn't die by the end of this because I'd actually love to see that character continue more because he's one of the better villains they've created out of Star Wars. It's certainly better than, somehow Palpatine returned. So
Somehow.
like,
Yeah, it's very funny.
I'd like to see him continue. I don't want to see this season end with him dying somehow. That would be kind of a waste, in my opinion. So
I'm very much so. Yeah. What are you looking forward to for the next episode?
I'm excited to see how Ahsoka joins this and to see Ezra's reaction to what I assume she'll eventually talk about in terms of like what actually has happened, because there's a lot to fill him in on, the whole Death Stars and all that shit. He has no idea about that, so I'd like to see his reaction to that, and then him finding out that they don't have an escape plan or how to get
That's what I'm
back.
looking forward to. It's just like
He's gonna be like,
well,
you what?
you what? That's funny.
Yeah.
What are you giving this episode?
Tough one. I think, what did we give last time? Like 8.5 or something, right?
Yeah. I really.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I like trying to compare like what I gave last episode and see how much I like this one. I did really enjoy this one. I don't know if I liked it more than the last episode.
Yeah,
though.
it's like-
But, like the beginning was really good, so it's
It was.
it's kind of tough.
And I had
to be honest.
two gigantic reveals.
Seriously, yeah.
We shouldn't start doing 8.75s. We can't do that.
No. I think if anything, I might just stick with 8.5.
Okay.
Like it met my expectations compared to last episode, and so
And this
there was some
turtles
silly
really
stuff.
dropped it down.
Yeah. It could have been a 9, but it was just like, there's these weird hermit crab thingies that had no reason for being in the spot.
Yeah, I was
So,
really mad at them for that.
8.5.
If anyone's gonna be like, oh, they were there getting the water, it's like this fucking
That little puddle?
yeah.
Because that's what the dog thingy ate or
It's a
was
rat,
drinking, right?
excuse
That
me.
little
Yes.
the
And
rat
he was
dog
like
thing.
in the fucking like mud, like it was dirty as water.
Yeah, that's
Tell me those
not
hermit
clean
crabs,
stream water.
or, like fucking Darwin allowed those turtles to live for like hundreds of years, so it's like they can fucking get some better ass water than that. For
Yeah.
fuck's sake. I see all the stormtroopers on their hands and knees, like sipping out mud water.
I would be very interested to see if people have better explanations in the comments, and is like, you guys are actually stupid. You missed the fact that they were actually grabbing these plants that we completely missed or something. Then I'd be like, okay, fair. I'll go back and watch it.
Timestamp.
But I don't remember
motherfucker.
seeing that.
Timestamp it,
timestamps. for sure.
motherfucker. Get just super aggressive and defensive. Okay, well, that's our official review, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, had a lot of fun recording this one. It's a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and drop an 8.5 on it. Pretty good. Very
Yeah.
excited for the last two and cannot wait to see you guys on the next Ahsoka. But until then, bye, everybody.
Peace out.